You ever look around and wonder when basic respect became optional? Like, when did people stop giving a damn about manners or even just talking to each other like we're human beings? Because these days it feels a lot like folks don't just disagree anymore. They get into it or have a little disagreement and they go straight for the throat. And let's be real. When respect dies, community dies. And when community dies, well, we all lose. And I'm telling you what I see. Respect is disappearing in this country. And it's not some random accident that is happening. A lot of it is tied directly back to social media, echo chambers, and that whole me first mindset that's flat out frightening. People nowadays tend to care more about being right than being kind. There's no more empathy in the world anymore. And that shift right there, people, that's tearing our country apart. I can remember back in the day, and I know I say that a lot, but I do. And it used to be folks were thoughtful and say, for instance, you hold a door for somebody, you get a thank you, a nod, hell, maybe you can get a handshake. Nowadays, nah. You hold the door for somebody that brush right by you like shit, like you're the doorman. And that's not just rude, people, that's entitlement. I can remember wherever you went in this country, it didn't matter. People spoke to each other. They made eye contact, they spoke to each other. You spoke to somebody, they spoke back. Nowadays, you can speak to somebody and they'll just totally ignore you. If they do even respond, it's to look at you like, who the hell are you talking to? You know, who are the hell are you talking to? And that's so sad to me. It seems like society's turned into one big echo chamber. People don't associate with or listen to or conversate with anyone who disagrees with their beliefs or ideas, and then they will go after or attack anybody who is on the opposite side of that. My problem with that is if you only get one side of an argument, you're misinformed. And not only are you misinformed, but you're trapped. You're trapped by your own beliefs. You only have what you know to act on. That's sort of how racism works. People are taught a certain group of uh, information. I won't say it's factual because most of it's not, but they're taught something. And because they have no interaction with the other side, they're forced to believe what they're taught. And it leaves them trapped for a long time. A lot of people never get out of it, but some people, fortunately, are able to actually start to deal with the other side of that argument and realize that a lot of what they've been taught was bullshit. You know, Another problem that I have are the kids that are growing up today being led to believe that being rude to each other is normal because we've normalized that in this society today. Respect isn't being taught at home by the parents, and the adults are not holding their own children accountable for anything they do, just not being rude, but they're not being held accountable for anything. And I've always said this, and I've always been taught this throughout my whole life, that if you don't respect your own parents, you're not going to respect any adult. Remember, respect starts at home. A lot of the things that we learn, they start at home. If we don't get them at home, we don't learn them. And respect is a big one. We got to stop kidding ourselves, you know, about what's going on in this country, about the lack of respect and the violence, the anger, the division. That's division because the media, social media, politicians, corporations, they're making a lot of fucking money off our division. The more we are distracted and in fighting with each other, this group against that group, this political group against that political group, the more we're distracted basically and fighting each other, the more we're not fighting for real change. We're not keeping our eye off the ball. We're distracted. And they profit heavily from our outrage. And then we, in return, lose our power. Here's the thing: we can bring respect back. We can. It just starts with us calling out bad behaviors when we see it, and starting to hold people accountable for their own actions. I mean, I I'm starting to see a world where people who really believe, adults too, that they shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. I'll give you an example. I watch TV sometimes, which I do very little. The idiot box is what I call it. And I'll see out in California and other places, but mainly out in California, where a group of people will run into a store and basically help themselves to any merchandise in that store that they want. It could be a CVS, it could be a Coach purse store, it could be a Louis Vuitton store, but basically they just help themselves and then they run out. And then when they get caught, which they catch very few of them, they act like they were somehow entitled to do that. And I keep thinking to myself, where did that type of thinking or mentality come from? In order for someone to think that you're entitled to break the law, that means that you've been doing it. That means that the people around you have allowed you to do this and have instilled in you some kind of thought process that says it's okay to do this. I don't know. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, we need to start holding the people accountable. But we have to do it in such a way that we don't pose a threat to them or to ourselves. Because sometimes when you're being disrespected, it's hard to be respectful. It's hard to be respectful to someone who flat out doesn't deserve it. But that's what we have to do. We have to lead by example. Even when someone doesn't deserve it, we have to keep our cool and show them how respect looks. We can't afford to slide much further down the slippery slope, people. Because when respect dies, everything else falls apart. And this isn't just about manners. We're far beyond manners. This is about the foundation of our families and of our neighborhoods and of our very country. Stop and think about something for a minute. If we let respect go, what's left? We can't really afford to let respect die. We need to show it, we need to teach it, and we need to demand it. And if we want a future where every single conversation or disagreement or misunderstanding doesn't turn into a fight, we've got to start to do these things. And on that subject, a lot of disagreements turn into violent altercations because people haven't been taught ways to handle confrontation. They think the way to handle confrontation is to go and pick up a firearm. And this has become normalized thinking in this country. Look at the news, you know. But if you want to see respect make a comeback in this country, which I know I do, you have to be the example. That's what I was saying about sometimes you have to show people respect even when they don't deserve it. And it's hard, but it can be done. We got to find a way to do it without losing our cool. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time that you can think of an act of respect someone showed to another person? Drop it down in the comments. Let's talk about it. I rack my brain about it, and it's difficult for me because I grew up in that era where respect was just expected. It wasn't like, even to this day, my wife won't get in the car without me opening the car door. She won't enter a building. She won't even come in our house without me opening the door for her. But to me, this is what's expected of a man. And to her, that's what, she expects that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying you have to go that far. That's a personal decision. But just basic respect of a person's space, respect them as a human being, respect opinions. Like, we don't even want to hear each other's opinions anymore. That's a problem. We can't really have conversations that are going to be beneficial when people don't respect each other's opinions. We can come back from this. I have a lot of faith in our country. I really do. I think America is the greatest country on the face of the earth. I think it's one of the greatest civilizations that ever existed. And in spite of what everybody says, we have our problems. Name for me a society that doesn't have its problems. But we can come back from this. We just have to work together on the problem. What's the old saying? Together we stand, divided we fall. Same premise. Hey, I've talked enough. As always, you guys take care of yourself and each other. I'll see you guys in the next one.